Go ahead and share my screen for you guys now. If you would just be patient with me while I do that. All right. So, a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. And really what it revolves around is the fact that it's a whole new world out there for us, right? Whether you're doing hybrid learning, whether you're doing fully remote learning, I mean, we're all kind of in a whole new world. All right, keeping your kids successful in 2020 requires a whole different skill set than it did in 2019. And so, not to fear, because a parent assistant night has you covered. So, let's get started, guys. Really, there's three things that'll really get your 2020 going the right way. Three basics that you need to have covered, that you need to know how to do, you need to know in and out. That first thing is email. You need to know who to email, when to email them, how to email them, okay? If you didn't email it, did it really happen? No, it didn't, okay? Video chat. There's some ins and some outs and some do's and some don'ts. I'll kind of give you some little etiquette, some pro tips on that. And then another thing you guys should probably be aware of is what's the GoGuardian software that's on the computers that you guys are using. So, why email, right? Come on, like, why can't we just put a phone call in? Why can't I just stop up to the school? Obviously, with the quarantine efforts and things like that and the distancing efforts, email has gone from the forefront to the super forefront of communication. So it's the best way to get a hold of your teachers. It's a 24/7, all the time operation. So if you work third shift, it's not a big deal. Send an email at 3 in the morning. Nobody cares what time they got an email. They do care what time they get a phone call. So that's definitely a benefit to it. And also another really good benefit to your email is if you're emailing a conversation with somebody and you've asked some questions or they've asked you questions in the past, it kind of leaves a trail for you and for your memory. So an email never forgets, just in case you do. It turns out I'm one of those people that forgets a lot. Emails help me out a lot. It helps me stay organized. So that's one good thing for you guys. Also, teachers are going to be far more responsive to emails than they will to returning a phone call because they can do it so quickly. A couple things you should be doing with your email. Make checking your emails a habit. So that students and parents alike, because parents, you're getting a lot of information from the schools right now. A lot of parents that I talked to today to call and remind them about the meeting, like, oh, hey, did you get that email? Oh, man, I didn't check my email for the past 3 or 4 days. That's cool, but if you check it more frequently, then we can maintain a little bit better contact. Students, they should be checking their email every single morning, their student email, and they should be checking it multiple times throughout the day. One way that they can make that easy on themselves is they can try to sync that to their phone. So parents, the same way, like maybe your Gmail or something like that just comes straight to your phone. Students can try to sync their student emails to their phone. When you're emailing teachers, the very first step, how do you find your teachers' email addresses, right? So when you're in Home Access Center, if you see here, this was from the main screen in Home Access Center. You notice where the teacher's name is underlined. If you hover your cursor over that, it'll pull up the link. If you ever see your teacher's name underlined, I'm willing to bet a nickel it's a link. Put your cursor over it, click on it, check it out. If you do that, like on your phone, for example, it'll pull your email app up right there. Boom, fire your question off. It doesn't have to be, super long or anything. Actually, probably the short and more precise, the better. Fire it off and fire it off quick. Like I said, this was from a home access center. And then up here at the top, these are just reminders. Don't forget, you guys will be able to print these off too. Checking the email. How often? Every single day, more than once a day. Sync the email to your phones. And last but not least, I want to say about email, communication is the key, you guys. The more your teachers are going to talk to you, the more they're going to know you. The more they know you, the more they can help you. The more that they can identify, hey, so-and-so missed one assignment. That's not normal behavior for them. They usually turn in every single assignment. Or so-and-so struggling with this, and I know they're struggling with it because they talked to me about it. or I know so-and-so maybe we did really well at this before, so I want to let them know that we've got another project coming up just like that so that they can be excited about it. So it's not just for the negative, it's also for the positive too. Here we have actual footage of what was a teacher waiting for responses from students and families. It's so sad.
That's a parent too.
All right. So you might find this hard to believe, but I have been accused once or twice before of breaking social norms. So kind of ironic that I'd be teaching us the video chat etiquette. But the best way to participate in video chat is to do as much as you possibly can. However, the other side to that is, how do I participate in video chat and still maintain some privacy, right? So 3 pro tips from the parent assistant night. Number 1, know your mute button. Number 2, find yourself a space. And number 3, the use of virtual backgrounds. So why do we need to use the mute button? When you're using software like video chat software, for example, if I'm trying to relay some information to you right now, and maybe you set a cup down or some other noise is going in the background, or somebody walked in and started talking, that your computer would actually pick that sound up and it would cut me off and it would display your audio to the rest of the conversation. So in order to prevent that, and then I would have to go back, repeat myself. Okay, you guys are seeing where this could be a pain, right? So typically every time you get into a Zoom conversation, if you're not the host, the general best practice is to get in and mute yourself right away, okay? And then it's kind of like one of those, don't speak until spoken to, that kind of deal. So keep yourself on mute until it's time for you to talk. Then when it's time for you to talk, unmute yourself, say what you got to say, and then go back to mute again. An easy way to do that on Zoom is with the space bar, but that's for another conversation. Don't forget that you can also respond with body language. Like some of you guys saw me like, oh yeah, business student in the house. People can see what you're doing. You can also use the emojis at the bottom of the screen, and that'll convey your emotion too without having to say something. All right, finding a space for your student. So something that we found through remote learning is that students don't always want to be on the video chat services. Oftentimes, this is because they're embarrassed about what the rest of the house looks like, or what might be going on in the rest of the house, things like that, what might be said, what other people might see. So the key here is to provide your student with a space that's going to allow them to participate in their classes, but it's also going to allow you to maintain some privacy. So this chart right here will show you, this is the rest of your house here and all the craziness that comes with it maybe. And if your camera is here in the corner and like you're back in the corner, your camera's only going to pick up what's here in the turquoise and the dark area. So that way you can still participate with your teachers, with your class and everything else, but you're also maintaining some privacy for yourself. If somebody happens to walk out of the bathroom out of the shower with a towel around their waist or whatever, your entire classroom isn't seeing everything else that's going on in your home. Again, this just talks about the importance of finding a space. It cannot be said enough how important it is. Use an extra room if you have one. If you don't have an extra room, set aside a place, like a spot at the kitchen table maybe if you can, where your student can claim that as their space for their schoolwork. Make it known to the entire house that during, XYZ time, this is their space, okay? And, support them in that. Don't let other members of the household, disrespect or intrude the space when they're trying to get their schoolwork done. Let them maintain a productive, organized environment if at all possible, okay? And this just talks a little bit more about the importance of that. You guys can go back and read that yourselves. Here we have Bart Simpson saying, they're probably watching us right now. Al Roker says, yes, we are. All right, so this is the Go Guardian software. You need to know about it. Teachers and administrators can see everything you're doing on your school computers. At all times, everything you do on there is being monitored, okay? So my advice, the advice from the parent assistant night is Be truthful about what you're doing. Don't tell teachers you're working on something if you're not, okay? Also, don't do anything on your school computer that you would not want to show your grandparents, okay? So if you can't bring grandma over and say, hey, look what I'm doing on the computer, turn it off. That's my advice. Just to recap, I want to just read the importance of email communication, okay? If you have any questions about this stuff, please feel free to contact me. We went over how to find email addresses, how to make checking your email a little bit easier, kind of the basics of video chat, how to give yourself some privacy, mute etiquette, giving your students a space to work, so important right now with remote learning. And Go Guardian knows everything, don't forget. And last but not least, don't forget, anybody at Auburn can help you, okay? And so don't hesitate to ask. Everybody's here is friendly. And also, we got rare footage of the parent assistant night getting down. So I just want to say thank you very much, you guys. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed and also learned a little bit while we were at it. And I can't wait for the next one.